Let me take your time out to say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you in GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channels 20. Good morning, welcome. It's To The Point. It's Thursday, the 17th day of April. And usually on Thursday, we do host various departments within the RGPF. Today, we do have the Coast Guard Department. And let me say good morning and welcome to, of course, 582 Tommy with us this morning. Let me go in a simple way of saying it. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
Morning, everyone.
All right. Our feature conversation, of course, which I think it's timely knowing that, how I would say, the season that we're into. You know, we into the Easter season right now, and for the next couple of days, lots of folks may be contemplating going to the beach and so forth. And safety is important.
It's a paramount.
It's paramount importance for real, in terms of when you're going out. And of course, 528 Tommy is with us here today from the, Coast Guard Department. And we'll be talking a whole lot in reference to safety, especially the folks who are going to the beach, even the rivers and so forth too. Kind of safety is important for wherever you decide you want to visit and having a good time, and the do's and don'ts. So we're going to start up this morning conversation by maybe me asking you the simple question. Why is it that important for individuals to practice that necessary safety measures when they're visiting the beach or even rivers, the waterfalls and stuff like that? Why is it that important that safety be paramount for them to follow through on?
Well, one of our main why safety is so important is that you need to be safe to ensure that wherever you go, whether it is the river, the waterfall, the beaches and things, you could leave safely. You could return home. And one of the things that you could do is, keep yourself safe to keep others safe and this kind of stuff like that.
Basically, you said keep yourself safe. If someone is to try to define that particular terminology about keeping yourself safe, define that a little bit for me.
Right. So one of the things that you could do to keep yourself safe, it all is planning.
Yeah.
So if you decide you're going to the beach this weekend, you plan from home.
Yeah.
So you plan, well, I'll go to the beach. You need people to supervise your children or supervise them at all times. If you have kids or so on, you designate people to look at them at all times, because we could say that we're going to be safe, but our children they have a mind for themselves.
So true.
So where we would say, all right, I ain't going deep into the water. Your child might think otherwise.
Yeah. You
might not always be looking at your child, but you could also have somebody designated to look at that child.
All right.
So all that comes in planning.
All right. The importance of planning plays a pivotal role in terms of when you're going out. I know there are lots of other tips that you would like to throw out, especially for folks visiting the beach. Let's focus on the beach for now. Mm-hmm. Share with us some more tips that, of course, for our listeners and viewers this morning should adhere to, especially when visiting the beach.
Well, one of the things that you should look at is the condition of the sea before you enter. Yeah. So if the waves tend to be rough and you're not a very good swimmer, I would advise that you do not go into the water.
All right.
However, if the sea seems calm, you go swimming. Try to swim in a parallel to the shore. So you're always in the same depth of water.
All right.
Rather than going inward and outward. Because sometimes you go outward and you're exhausted, it's rather difficult to come back in.
Okay.
So those are some of the tips that you could use when you're going out to sea.
All right. Now, for the reference, especially for adults, there always a tendency now, folks wanting to go out, especially with an excursion of individuals. And they're probably the option of folks wanting to, the consumption of alcohol, the overeating and all of that. Tell us something in relation to that, or tips in relation to that you would want to hear folks, the do's and don'ts when it comes to that.
Well, in relation to that, if you intend to consume alcohol, we would advise that you do not go swimming.
Yeah. Because
it could impair your judgment, impair your ability to swim.
All right. And the issue of going to the beach with of course, a discussion of friends and looking out for each other point of view. What kind of information you would like to share with, especially in relation to that also?
Well, you could always have a friend designated to look after a friend. So if it's a group of 4 or 5 persons, you could have one person always looking out for this person and that person, so we could all end up safe.
All right. The issue of folks, competent swimmers, being around individuals who can't swim, the importance of that also. I mean, making sure that if there's 6 or 7 of you that decide we're going on the beach, is it important that they should always have someone who you know is capable of assisting them and so forth?
Yes. Generally, there's someone that seems to be a very strong swimmer.
Yeah.
Then that person could help assist the other persons and them who are not very strong swimmers.
All right. All right. Hey, folks, it's to the point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. We're talking, of course, 582 Tommy this morning from the Coast Guard Department. We're talking safety at the beach, or safety. A lot of the safety tips we thrown out this morning related to, of course, going to the beach. Now, let's talk a wee bit, still on the beach, folks who intend to go on the beach, in terms of children. What information you would like to share with adults who are carrying children? You did speak about it briefly, but I'm not sure if you want to expand on it in any way, in terms of, especially when children is on the beach, the importance of parents paying attention to youngsters, especially on the beach.
Sure. You must pay very special attention to your children, and some of the things that you could use to help aid you with that is you could use some flotation devices and so on. So even if your child does wander off, they could have that flotation device that would keep them afloat, so you would still spot them, or somebody else would see them into the water and retrieve them.
All right. Let's go a wee bit now. So you're on the beach. The knowledge of flotation device, that also plays an important role.
Yes.
You're not only because you feel, well, you have a flotation device that's going to save you, not always work that way all the time. Having that basic knowledge of it, the importance of having knowledge of flotation device, especially those that you use for children and even adults alike. Talk to us in relation to that.
Well, some of the things that you have to use the proper sizing.
Yeah.
Because for children, they would have to use the smaller sizes, and you have to ensure that it is outfitted properly, so that when you don't go into the water, the children don't fall through it or it tips over or that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And still not leaving them unattended, even though they are using the flotation device.
Yes.
When it comes to adults, in reference to that too, someone may feel, well, it's been a norm here in Grenada. We use those in line for doing the tubes, or whatever we call it, and we think, well, we and adults, we could probably manage that. Is that always a safe thing to use, especially when going into the sea? Is it always that safe?
It's not that safe because it's not recommended, because tubes tend to have leaks.
Yeah.
So you now having this device and thinking that you're all well and safe, and you wander far into the sea and then it spring a leak, then you might be in some trouble getting back. Sure.
A couple of minutes you probably inflate it, and a couple of minutes it seems to be okay.
Yes.
You get into the water and it start losing, that you run into problems there.
Yes.
Right, so maybe make sure that it's properly doesn't have any holes, or what we say locally, in it, that it's losing the air.
Yes, because some tubes, they tend to, if you just inflate them all on their own, they seem to be good, but when they get pressure, they tend to...
It starts leaking, starts leaking and so forth. All right. Folks, we're here on Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll take a first break in this segment. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us. Don't touch your dial. It's Classic Radio GBN TV. It's to the point. We'll be right back after the short break.
Angie, don't you know that you should not fly kites near electrical poles and wires? You should only fly it in open areas. If the kite gets stuck, it can cause power outages throughout the village.
Then I'll just pull it down, Johnny. Simple.
No, you shouldn't do that. You can get shocked. You should call Glen at 237 and they will come and help.
Glen, energizing our Grenada.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th, so don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
Tracksuit, water bottle, sneakers, It's time. Let's get ready to join us on the road this year for Quad Bank's annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. Tell your family and friends, and let's get moving towards a healthier lifestyle. Carry a coup. Come out in your numbers on Sunday, April 6th from 4 p.m. as we pump it up from Alexis Food Store's car park to the Hillsborough Tennis Court. On Sunday, May 4th, the action is on the mainland. We're hitting the road at 4 p.m. from Monrouge Playing Field to the Kirani James Athletics Stadium. Registration ends on May 2nd or while stocks last. So get your packages today. Individual packages cost $20. For groups of 3 or more, packages cost $15 each. Proceeds go towards the Princess Royal Hospital in Carriacou. Visit our website for more details. See you on the road for Welcome Home.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. It's To The Point. And, of course, we have, Officer 582 Tommy with us this morning representing the Coast Guard. And we've been joined. Haven't seen him in a wee bit. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning to all your listeners via the radio or the social media platform. This is a pleasure. Yes, it's a pleasure to be back.
All right. Nice to have you. Nice to have you. Of course. So we now have joined for representing the traffic department, and so our conversation will swing in that particular direction. So of course myself and of course Officer Tommy been talking a wee bit about the sea and of course the do's and don'ts when it comes to the beach. We still have a lot more to talk about. Going to give you the opportunity to talk about some of the in terms of traffic. Of course, how the traffic department will be looking forward to doing the necessaries for the upcoming, of course, Easter holidays.
Yes. Good morning again, and it's a pleasure to be on GBN Morning for yet another time. This morning, I am here to speak all things traffic, and we know that we are approaching the Easter season, and it is one of the most as I said, one of the most celebrated seasons of the year, where persons come out in groups, family, friends, where they go to their favorite beaches and other hotspot places, or where persons associate for the Easter season. And around that time, we see or anticipate a high volume of vehicular traffic along our nation's road. And when that happens, the traffic department have its responsibility and mandate to make sure that our roads are safe. Our roads are safe for all road users. And one of the hotspot places that we normally see persons is the Bathway Beach.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of congestion happening along that time from the past few years. And what we did is we devised a traffic plan for the Bathway Beach area.
Okay.
So that I just want persons to note that if you're planning on attending the Bathway Beach for the Easter season, there will be a traffic plan in place, and I will outline the traffic plan for you so that you will be aware of where you should pass, where you should park, where you shouldn't park, and everything that involves you attending that
Sure. So let's hear of those plans.
Vicinity. So the traffic plan for the Easter 2025 for Bathway St. Patrick's. So all vehicles traveling towards Bathway and Rivera St. Patrick will be allowed to enter from the Rose Hill Junction, and then you enter onto Bathway.
Okay.
So you're going into Bathway, your entrance is the Rose Hill Junction.
All right.
No vehicles will be allowed to enter the aforementioned area, which is Bathway and Rivera, from Riverside Junction. So that will be a no entry for vehicles entering into Bathway.
Okay.
and there is a reason for that. So all vehicles leaving Bathway now will be permitted to exit towards the River Sally direction. So we made it a one-way so that you enter through Rose Hill and you exit onto River Sally Junction.
Okay, all right. I guess that will ease the congestions of
yes,
coming in
vehicles and persons also may want to park in places that we know how it can be congested and how the beach can be populated during that time.
Okay, great.
Yes. No vehicles will be able to park or permitted to park at the beachfront. However, vehicles will be permitted to park in the following areas, and they are the open area to the right side of the Bathway Beach.
All right.
The first open area after you leave Bathway Beach, those area where the persons normally park, and also the open area known as Savon.
Is it Swaziland Swayze?
Savon Swayze, yes, for one better pronunciation.
Right.
Yes, I have trouble with that. Yes, so that is the 3 areas that you can park. And I want persons to be mindful that drivers must exercise good discretion when you are about to park in those areas. And parking, we know, yes, sometimes those places that we mentioned might be exhausted and you want to park elsewhere. Park in areas that are wide enough that can accommodate traffic, and also that you wouldn't park in an area that would cause obstruction and likely to cause an accident if you park maybe on a corner in a dangerous position, etc. So we want you to exercise discretion when you are about to park. Don't just throw your vehicle anywhere and just leave it there because you know that you want to go. All you're concerned about is getting to the venue or Bathway where you want to have that time of enjoyment. So be considerate in your parking as well.
And I'm assuming there will be a small police presence from the traffic department and other departments.
Not a small police presence, I can assure you that. But
I deliberately say that way to get that response from you. There'll be a police presence.
Yes, police presence. So you would have that would be one of the most anticipated areas. So you'd have a large volume of traffic, police presence, in that area where will be police in the beach. Traffic department will have their part to play. CID will have their part to play. Every arm of the police force will be there doing their bits and pieces to make sure that safety is paramount. And I assume that the Coast Guard will also be there in that area to ensure safety as well.
That's why I was wanted to switch to, of course, Officer Tommy there on that segment this morning, because, of course, we spoke about the beaches and so forth. What kind of tips and of course, would you like to show out to, of course, our listeners and viewers, especially those who may be thinking about using the Bathway Beach? There's always a bit of concern about the use of that particular beach area, of course, over the years. What kind of tips would you like to throw to folks, especially individuals planning on using the beach up there?
Well, for persons planning on using the Bathway Beach and how they get in there, if they get in there via small boats and vessels, they have to be mindful that Bathway Beach is a beach that has a lot of reef, so there's a lot of shallow areas, so the boat operators have to be very mindful in which they approach the shore, approach the vessel. They also have to be mindful of the capacity of the vessel in terms of the amount of persons that they're licensed to carry, the amount of life jackets that they have on board if in case an incident were to occur, that they have the amount of life jackets to outfit every individual on board the vessel, and those kind of stuff.
All right. Now, the importance of course, I want you to, of course, emphasize a whole lot on boat safety, because we know around this time of the Easter season, folks want to go on other boat excursions for some various reasons and so forth. Let's roll out some of the safety tips that individuals should follow, especially when the use of boats, whether it's for a recreational purpose or just feel, well, it's Easter, I'm going to take a boat and play around with it on the beach, whether it's a powered boat, that you just share out some information in terms of safety tips that folks should follow a whole lot, especially with use of boats around this time.
All right, some of the safety tips is we asking the boat operators to monitor the weather so that you do not go outside there and unexpected to you, the weather changes. So you need to monitor the weather if you intend to go out there. Always do your pre-checks in terms of your vessel. Ensure that your lights are operational, your engine is operating in an optimal way, that you have all your devices on your boat in terms of your GPS, your phones are fully charged, and those kind of stuff. So that will better aid us, because you don't want to be in a situation outside there where you need assistance and you forgot your phone, or you don't have your GPS to give correct coordinates where to find you. You understand?
All right.
We're also asking them to obey the channel markers, like the navigational aids, in terms of, because what we've noticed is a lot of the boat operators, because they have a small vessel, they tend to not follow the channel markers. They believe they could just pass on the outside because the vessel is small and the draft is very low.
All right.
Right. So that's some of the things that we asking them to do.
All right. Now, the importance of the channel markers. Me as someone who's naive about this, have no knowledge in relation to that. The importance of those channel markers that boat users should pay attention to. The importance of that in particular.
Right. So the importance of the channel markers is just like traffic on the road. There is a way to
know it's on the sea.
Yes. So there is a way to come in and to leave the channel.
All right.
So when you leave in the channel, you leave on the starboard side of the channel, the green side.
All right.
And when you're coming into the channel, you come in on the red markers.
All right. And that should always be followed for all,
always be followed,
especially for
all vessels.
All right. Now, the importance of having those life jackets and so forth on your boats. The importance of having that. I mean, sometimes God forbid you may not have to use it, but the importance of always having them on us. What information you want to share with us in relation to that?
Well, this is of paramount importance because the life jackets and the buoys and the life rings on your vessel, this could aid you in terms of, let's say your vessel starts taking in water, God forbid you have to abandon your vessel. If you do not have these life jackets on them, how long could somebody tread water for the Coast Guard to find them? If you have these life jackets and these life aids and things, this could aid you sometimes for 3 days, and within that time Coast Guard is sure to find you.
All right. The importance of also carrying the food, especially folks may be thinking, well, not only for the recreational purpose now, but folks may be thinking, well, over the Easter I'm going to go out and fish for some reason or the other. The importance of carrying the necessaries. Yes, we spoke about you having your navigation equipment and so forth. Make sure they're on par. Your phones, they're properly charged. But I'm assuming food and other necessaries. Tell us a wee bit about that.
Well, we asking the boat operators, especially the fishermen who tend to go far, that they have food that could last them approximately 2 weeks and those kind of things, because sometimes you would leave to go fishing, and that always happens in Grenada. You leave to go fishing, the vessel is overdue. The vessel was supposed to be back at 4, 5, 6, the vessel is now back. And that goes back to the pre-checks that these boat operators are not doing the pre-check. So when they go outside there and it's time to come back, the engine fail. Or they do not do the pre-check, they go out further than they're supposed to, they don't have enough sufficient fuel. So you having that food outside there where you have to wait on rescue for sometimes hours or days, that could be help to aid you in terms of keeping your body at a optimal way in terms of when you get rescued.
All right, great. All right, so we drew for a break. Let's take that break. When we come back, folks, we got much more. We'll continue with much more in terms of range from traffic and from the, of course, Coast Guard Department. Stay with us. Don't touch it out. It's Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
Boyo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. It's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Grenlink, energizing our Grenada.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th. So don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there. Heritage Theatre presents Breaking Out, the Grenada Love Story, featuring Robert White and Lisa Grappi. Written and directed by Chris DeRiggs.
But I still love you, Richie.
You love me and you're harming me.
4 big performances, Saturday 24th and Sunday 25th May at the Grenada Trade Center. Saturday 31st May and Sunday 1st June at Deluxe Cinema in Grenville. Showtime 7 p.m. sharp.
He's the love of my life, Auntie. You have to marry a man for other things besides love, child.
Get your tickets at Mitchell's Pharmacy in Grandance, Gittins Health and Wellness Wall Street, Gabriel's Pharmacy Pedmata, St. David Pharmacy, St. Andrew Pharmacy, Art and Soul Boutique at Spiceland Mall, 3B's Shoe Store, and GoToFed.com. Breaking Out. Come out and enjoy Grenadian theater at its best.
This ad complements Classic Lighting Caribbean.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. It's to the point, and we have, of course, the Traffic Department and, of course, the Coast Guard Department from the RGPF with us this morning. And we're talking, of course, safety in terms of individuals may plan or groups may be planning on visiting the beaches and of course, using their boats. Just overall safety tips that you could follow as you go along, of course, and enjoy the Easter weekend. We also have the Traffic Department this morning in reference. We're talking to, of course, the opposite speak earlier in range of the the use, especially folks who will be visiting the Bathway Beach area. And of course the parking, no parking areas and so forth. And we also spoke in reference to where you are allowed to enter and leave the Bathway area to ease that traffic congestion. We want to continue, of course, with the Traffic Department once again. And I want to talk in terms, another issue that is always will develop, not always, but it will develop, especially around this time of the year, in terms of individuals wants to just feel, well, I can free up with my vehicle and whatever I want because I think maybe we're going into the holidays or whatever. Would there be a zero tolerance, of course, approach from the Traffic Department in range of offenses that folks may consider wanting to do, around this time?
Of course. As I've stated earlier on, around that time we see a high volume of traffic and not an increase in vehicular traffic on the nation's road. Persons going to their favorites, as I stated, hotspots such as Bathways and the other popular beaches around the country. And we see around that time a lot of recklessness, a lot of lawlessness, and a lot of offenses. Persons violate the Road Traffic Act and the Road Traffic Regulation and a lot of other offenses in our law books. But however, the Traffic Department definitely will be out there in the numbers. So we'll be conducting a number of operations in the hotspot areas such as Bathway and areas leading to those hotspot areas. So we want to prevent persons from committing those offenses. So therefore, we will be out there in our numbers, especially on the Easter holidays, especially the Monday, the Sunday, the Friday. And we will be out there doing our due diligence to the state of Grenada. And some of the things that we see happening around that time. And I want to start with the bikers, because these are the most troubled group that we see or we have around that time. And I want to encourage especially those who intend to ride. Firstly, ensure that your bike is licensed, not just your bike, but all vehicles that must be driven on our nation's road around that time is licensed and insured to be on the nation's road.
All right.
So if you haven't done so yet, check the insurance providers. They will hook you up once your vehicle is roadworthy and in accordance to the laws of Grenada. And also check the dusty highway or the licensing centers to ensure that your vehicle is licensed to be on the road, especially those bikes.
Well, you only have,
around that
you
time,
only have today to do that, right?
Yes, that's why I say you still have a little time to get that done, because around that time we have confiscated a number of bikes, as we, for want of a better word, impounded a number of bikes for being uninsured, and a lot of tickets and so on, and was given, and persons have, and also that a lot of unlicensed drivers and riders are along the road at that time, because they figure it's a holiday and I can take that chance to drive, to ride, because I know I can, and I'm maybe they're accustomed doing it. But let me assure you that the traffic department will be out there conducting operations, and with that operations, we're clamping down on the persons who think that I can drink and drive. So we will have breathalyzers out there where we would be testing persons once we realize that you are under the influence of alcohol. You will be subjected to a breathalyzer test. And also in areas where persons tend to speed, we will be out there with our speed radar guns, ensuring that persons comply with the speed limit of our country. And the speed limit for our country, and I will repeat it again every time we come here, 20 miles for the towns of all our towns, and 35 and 45 miles respectively out of towns for the public service vehicle, that is a bus, and the goods vehicles are those with the T registration plates, and 40 miles for the private vehicles out of the town, out of our towns. So be mindful of our speed limit.
And just generally following the safety procedures, wearing your seat belts. I mean, of course, I guess police will be checking on that. Not because of the holiday doesn't mean you don't wear your seat belts.
Of course. And let persons know that before you leave home, I've heard Officer Tommy spoke that you plan your trip.
Yeah.
Before you leave home, so you make sure you know that you're going to Bathway, I'm going to Hope Beach, or I'm going to wherever I'm going. You plan, you make sure that you have everything that you need. You plan your route. If I am going, so then you choose the best route for your location. You make sure that your vehicle is in accordance or it's roadworthy. Yeah. So just as how you ensure that your vehicle have gas for your destination, check your tires, check your oil, check your brakes, check your brake fluid, check your lights if you intend to stay outside past 6 o'clock or dark hours. Check these things before leaving home. That is part of your journey and ensuring that you have a safe travel, and so on. And ensure that before leaving, make sure that seat belt is fastened, and everyone in the front seat of that vehicle, according to our laws of Grenada, seat belts are fastened. As I've stated earlier on, drive within the speed limit, and not only driving within the speed limit, for the condition of our roads at most times, because sometimes you have some roads, yes, you may be out of the town, but 40 miles may be too much for that particular road condition at the time. Especially, you may have potholes, you might have humps, it might be a narrow road.
Basically, use your discretion in terms of
course, you have
if it's necessary or not to move forward within that particular speed limit.
Definitely. And we know it's a festive season where persons will consume alcohol. But what we want to let, especially the drivers, if you have to drink, be responsible. Have a designated driver. Know your limits. We don't want, when we stop you and your speech are you're fumbling for words, etc., and so forth. And once we observe that, we subject you to a breathalyzer. And once you're over the legal limit, which is 70 micrograms of alcohol in 100 milliliters of breath, once we do that breathalyzer and it is above that limit, you will be arrested and charged for the offense of driving under the influence of alcohol. What is the
penalty that someone could obtain for that?
Well, in the first instance, $5,000. One can be charged up to $5,000 or imprisonment for 12 months. Yeah. That is the first, and then it doubles in the second or consecutive offenses. Yes.
All right. So make sure you're not driving impaired at all.
And also, you can be both be fined and confined based on the discretion of the magistrate or the circumstances under which the offense occur.
All right, great. So, as the officer mentioned, make sure that when you have your vehicles properly checked before you make. It's simple. Just plan your trip.
Of course.
And in planning your trip, it's encouraged that you make sure that your vehicle is roadworthy. If you know that particular vehicle has an issue, don't use it at all. Don't use it. You know whether it's a brakes, you know your tires are not properly. Why would you feel I'm free up today, so let me take a chance? You understand? As he mentioned, there will be a zero tolerance on for those offences if they are committed. So you don't want to run into the problem next Tuesday where you need some other assistance by someone to come and get you out from being on.
Somebody to get you.
Or have to go find somebody to pay a ticket or something. Save yourself those problems.
Or your bike is impounded because of it being uninsured or unlicensed and so forth. So let us do as I said, to be responsible as drivers or riders. You do not have a license, do not take that risk to be on the road.
Yeah.
We will arrest and charge you. Right. Because as I've stated, we will conduct operations in the hotspot areas and areas leading to the hotspot areas. So expect to see traffic officers, expect to see police officers along the road along those holidays, the festive days for the Easter period. And we may stop you to check for your driver's license, insurance. So be a bit patient while we check to ensure, because at the end of the day, one might say, the police are always harassing us at that time. We are not harassing you. We are ensuring that our nation's road remains safe. Because while you might be a prudent driver, someone else is taking that risk to be on the road without a license. The vehicle is not insured. That vehicle is not licensed to be on the road. And God forbid an accident occur or some incident happen where that person will require insurance to compensate you because they do not have that cash at hand. Then we will see problems, and then we will say, well, where is the police? We will ask, what is the police doing? Where is the police at that time?
Yeah.
So let us do what we have to ensure that our nation's road remains safe, and be patient while we do. Be patient while we do that.
All right, great. We're due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back in the next segment, folks, we'll invite our listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two in relation to the conversation this morning, feel free to do so. 435-2041. You have double options of calling in. You can also call via the WhatsApp and the direct line 435-2041. Let's take that break. We're coming right back. Don't touch it down.
GBN family, we've got a brand new home on Facebook and you need to be there. Follow us now on Facebook at Grenada Broadcasting Network -GBN. Stay updated with the latest news, sports, entertainment, and everything Grenada. Don't miss out. Like, follow, and share. Grenada Broadcasting Network. Stay informed, stay ahead. First with the news, fast with the updates.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Monrouge Plainfield from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Hammer Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towels, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules.
Like a freestyle, the life block flowing mile by mile. It's legacy, a beat that don't stop like Bob Marley said. One love on top. DCUH water out of sight, but it's always wrong. Don't lose the light. From factories and wells so deep, corals, mangroves and fish they weep. Grey water for the garden, keep it green. Save the cash and the earth is clean. We use the water with a mindful mind. It's out of sight but never far behind. In nature, the answers always flow. Like water running pure, the cycle grows. It renews itself, same drop, same beat. It's all good, man, you got the heat. Water flow, water flow. No clean water, no pipes they grow. Protect our water, protect our future.
Time to go.
welcome back once again to our listeners and viewers. It's to the point here on Classic Radio, GBN TV. And we're talking with the Traffic Department and also the Coast Guard Department this morning. And we're talking safety in general in terms of how you go about, of course, your business in terms of visiting the beaches, how you go about doing that, of course, how you, of course, use your vehicles over the next couple of days, and just your overall safety. That is important. We do have our first caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
Any of the policemen can answer the question, or even you. I'm wondering if, at present we have a lot of music, loud music being played in different vehicles, private vehicles as well as public vehicles. Now, I'm asking if they give these people and them permission to play their music at a certain, I know, but I yet don't know the right thing to say, the decibels or the decibels. And how would you measure it if a man is playing his music loudly? And would you be able to charge him since that is a holiday? Because it seems to me that people have a tendency to believe, even out of holiday, they play loud music. And now it's holiday. You could play loud music anywhere, anytime, and so on and so on. And at one time, people talk about kids. When you have kids in your vehicle, kids, I don't know if you have kids, but I would say when you have a child in your vehicle, should he sit? Should he sit at the front? Should he sit with the seat belt around him or her? These are the questions I would ask. Educate me.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Have a good morning. Respond to the caller. Firstly, the issue of the music being played, because I'm seeing a second individual is asking the same question, and they're saying also in reference to that, and they're saying as it's a long holiday period, will we allow drivers to play their amplified music or song system louder than during the 4-day weekend, just before weekend?
Thank you, Mr. Noel. And to answer your question, starting with the one with the loud music, one of the offenses that I have to touch on this morning, and we haven't gone there yet, but thanks for bringing it up so that we can speak a little on it. Our regulation 28 of the road traffic regulations, speaks about loud music to the annoyance. You've mentioned in terms of if they have permission. No, we do not give persons permission to play loud or amplified music in the vehicles. However, under the Noise Pollution Act, it speaks about amplified music. But however, there is procedures to be followed when we're dealing with amplified music in terms of you're forced to give warning, and then after consecutive
warnings, I assume,
and so forth, the music can be confiscated and they can be brought to the court where they have to answer the charges and so forth, and then the magistrate will decide what happens to the equipment after. But however, I would speak to Regulation 28 under the road traffic regulations, which speak to a loud noise to the annoyance, and persons having music playing at a volume that causes annoyance to anyone outside of that vehicle. As I have said up to persons, when you're dealing with music, we have to take into consideration the reasonability here. That if I am playing music in my vehicle, it should be for myself in the vehicle, not for other persons outside of your vehicle, where you have times where I am home and I'm hearing vehicles passing by me and it's shaking all my windows, and even things in the house is shaking. Why should we have to play music that loud in our vehicle? What are we trying to prove? And yet still you do not have any permission. Any music that should be amplified, you must get permission from the Royal Grenada Police Force. You must apply in writing, and it must be approved before doing so. So anyone found with excessive music around that time will be charged under Regulation 28 for permitting loud noise from your vehicle to the annoyance of anyone.
Okay.
And it's a ticketable offense, and we can go so far on to move to the Noise Pollution Act if it becomes necessary.
All right. The caller did also speak in reference to
seatbelts.
To seat
children.
Children, of course, driving in front. I mean, it's I think it's basic knowledge.
Yes. You have your children. You try to keep them or try to keep them at the back, and so forth. Yes, anyone in the front seat is required to wear a seatbelt.
Yes.
No matter what age, based on our laws, once you're in the front seat, you're required to wear a seatbelt. But however, you don't want to put a small child in the front of your vehicle, where you know how children can be, especially in front of vehicles where they always active. So you try to keep them in the back or fasten them to the back seat where you have a little more control over them.
And most times, seat belts are not appropriately fitted to children in the front anyway, because they're mostly not designed for children.
Based on how it is designed for the height and so forth.
A child wearing a seat belt in the front.
So the most you might get, is the lap part around them rather than the vertical aspect.
We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. How are you today, sir?
You're doing well. Let's hear from you.
Yeah. I'm glad to see a lot of police now on the streets. But I call on the police to start putting back some bus stops, especially in Grand area, because the buses stop in the middle of the road anyway, anytime, right? And they could make more money from there charging them for doing those things, because like the guys now, they don't care. And with the amount of traffic that we have on the road now, sometimes where they stop there because they want another bus pass, but they're pulling up everybody else just because they're staying in the middle of the road. So I'm looking forward to see that the police could do more policemen on the road, more bicycle on the road, more plain clothes police on the road like long time ago, so they doesn't know it's a police. Because long time ago the police used to stop and take out the ID and show I'm police officer or what and so on and so on. So they never know who is a police. So they need to take them chances. But now the guys doing anything, they don't care. So I'm hoping that's something they could do about some of those things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Any response to the caller?
We heard your concern, and we definitely take into consideration and see how we can curb the offenses that you've mentioned. And thanks once again for your input.
Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Morning, GT, and a happy Easter to you. And
same goes out to you.
Yes, I want to just let the people know the speeding is causing accident and death. Now, when you speed in your vehicle and you knock someone down, they're going to die. If you slog them down slowly, they will not die. You drive with speed, you will not reach where you're going. People have to understand. Listen to the police. When something happens, first place you're going 911. You're calling for help. They're coming to help you, but you does not obey their rules. Don't speed. Take your time and drive safely. And another part I want to talk about this morning is the sea. The sea have no friends. It have no branches. When you go out there, know that you could swim and get back in one piece. But if you're going to the sea and you're not turn your back on your child, how come the child follow you inside this child gone? Look out for your children. Look out for them in every way. Don't leave them unwanted. People must understand the law on the sea. The sea make for boats, fishes, not for human beings. But we like the sea because I ain't going there because once I almost drowned, they leave me to try to swim and I almost go down. So I want
all right. Thank you so much.
To swim. So GT, you have a happy Easter.
Same goes out to you. All right.
And give some lovely gospel song because tomorrow is Good Friday. And we have to go to church.
All right. Okay. We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, GT, and good morning to the officers.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I do want to find out this. Bicycles, should they be licensed, whether they are electrical or not?
All right. Any response to the caller?
Thank you.
Yes.
That's the only question, caller?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. All right. Respond to the caller there. Tell us he's asking in reference to bicycles.
So, yes. So, all bicycles, according to our laws, should be registered and licensed. So, you come to the traffic department with your bicycle, whether it is an electric or it have the pedal.
Yeah.
So, we inspect it, we check the serial number, we make sure that you have it's properly outfitted with brakes, you have lights, you have a bell or an audible device on that bike, and reflectors to one person's, especially if you out there in the night,
Okay,
for the
and
back
that
of the
goes
back.
for regular bicycles also.
Yeah, bicycle do, but it's electrical or manual
ones.
Yes,
Okay. Interesting.
And once we inspect it, then we fill out that form for you, and we send you to Inland Revenue where you register your bike.
Okay.
And you pay a fee of $25.
All right.
Yes. So that is the procedures that must be followed.
All right. Call via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, the arms of the police force, they're doing well. Fire, Coast Guard, immigration, but the traffic department really, I'm disappointed. You know, they have failed us, the general public, because they seem to be absent, and the public is left defenseless against these trucks, especially, and the vehicles with bright lights. The rate at which the trucks drive on the road, I mean, it's just God that shows mercy on us. They need to do something about this. These trucks are speeding. You know, I think one of the things, especially you find them traveling late at nights, they need to have the truck properly lit. You have a trailer, I think they should have lights all along the length of the truck and probably the height. So the oncoming traffic will clearly see what they're facing. You know, it's crazy. The police, the traffic department is seen absent on the roads. Too many times, persons had to be scampering on the sides and scaring the vehicles, you know, when they meet these trucks and the vehicles with the bright lights. We really think the traffic department needs to pull up on that and make persons feel safer when using the road.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. You want to respond to that?
Definitely. I really want to, because I want to bring some points across to let the caller be aware, and not just this caller, but every Grenadian, whether or not you're a driver or you're a pedestrian using the road. He mentioned the bright lights, the big trucks, and so forth. The police will not be everywhere at every time. There are places which require much more attention. But however, as the driver mentioned, the bright lights, the speeding, and so forth, these are offenses. Once it is dealt with, the necessary actions can be taken. And if we are not there in certain areas, and you, the caller, or any other person observe, especially the big truck, such as the trucks, they're speeding over the speed limits, they're driving recklessly, dangerously in areas where they shouldn't, you have a responsibility as well to report those drivers. Take the registration number of the vehicles. If you can identify the driver, the road which they are driven on at the time of the day, call us at the traffic department when you observe those things. You have a responsibility. As I've stated, the police cannot be everywhere at every time. So when you observe those things, call us, take a video. That is what we have the cell phones for. Report them. Let us take the necessary action against them. Because if we don't, and we're saying that the police are not doing what they're supposed to, yet we are not there to observe those offenses, you did. Do your due diligence as a responsible citizen. Call us, give us all the information, and let us take the necessary action against those drivers.
Okay, great.
We have to put a stop to those things.
All right, great. We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live. Let's hear from you.
Yes, good morning. I would like to know
WhatsApp
what
caller, good morning. I guess we lost that caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome. Caller, good morning. Yes, we lost both callers. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, I would like to find out what is being done about the constant music being played from Friday, most nights, but mainly on a weekend, on the Sugar Mill area, that roundabout there. Sometimes it goes from 9 all the way to 2 in the mornings. And nothing is being done. And I'm not even living close to there, but I can hear the music coming directly into my windows. What is being done about that? People have been complaining and the music still goes on. And this long weekend, we know it's going to be worse.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. We just have a few more minutes left on the program. Hold the thought for that caller. Let's entertain another caller, and then we, of course, maybe just answer all in one or two. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning, caller. Go right ahead, please.
I want to make a point. You hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you, caller. Go right ahead, please. You're live.
Yeah. What I want to find out, some of the police, when they check in the vehicles, when they come in, they will stop the small vehicles, the cars, the buses, but most of the big trucks that come in on the road, I could tell you what I experienced. They have no driver's permit to drive this big truck on them. But because the police sees a big truck coming, the man a license to drive, and they don't have the paper for it.
Okay.
And then the other point, vehicles make with a part in front of it with the bumper to affix your number plate. It become a vehicle have no number plate in front, none in the back, and even if they have it, you driving in a car or a van below, you have to look up in the sky on a dashboard to see if you see a number plate. That can be right.
All right, caller. Thank you so much. We'll see if the officer will respond to you. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Respond. We just have about a
so
minute or so
starting
left
with
on
the
the
loud noise. I want to encourage the caller to, especially in the Sugar Mill area, to contact the South St. George Police Station. If you're not getting any feedback there, you call 911 and relate that matter to the police control, and they will definitely look into the matter for you, and then because noise pollution is an offense, and it must be dealt with accordingly. And I've stated every music. Anybody who's playing amplified music, and I want to state that for the entire weekend. If you intend to play amplified music, you must get permission from the Royal Grenada Police Force in order to play amplified music, and that permission must be approved. So once you do not have an approved document from police headquarters to play amplified music, you should not be playing over the weekend. And once the music is not reasonable enough, contact the police department, call 911, call the nearest police station, and so that they can deal with these noise pollutions.
All right. You want to make any closing contribution?
The caller said a lot in relation to persons driving without license. I cannot attest to that. I believe that all drivers who driving the relevant classes of vehicle have the relevant class. However, we as a police force, once we out there and we stop those persons and they do not have the relevant license, we take the necessary action. I don't know how the caller knows that these persons do not have the relevant he says that they don't have the permit or whatever it is. I cannot attest to that. So if the caller have any additional information, maybe you should call us so that we can have a dialogue and look into it and deal with it accordingly.
Okay, great. Anything in closing, Officer Tommy, before we wrap in terms from the Coast Guard Department?
Just in closing, I just want the general public to be aware of the safety tips that were brought forward earlier in the point, that those beachgoers and them be very vigilant in terms of anything that they see that we spoke about in the don'ts, and try to do the do's so everybody could return home safely.
All right, thank you. Officers, I want to thank you once again for coming on the program this morning, and best wishes goes out to you. Hope you have an enjoyable Easter holidays. Goes out to both of you. And to our listeners and viewers, best wishes goes out to you. Also, we will not have addition of To the Point tomorrow, either on Monday. It's holiday. Guess I get a little time off. All right, so folks, join us again for an edition. Will be next Tuesday. Then we'll have another edition for you up To the Point. Have a good one, folks. That's what we say goodbye.